and would drive the 3 hours because I was not staying at some random stranger's house. And I didn't have money for a hotel.
I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And everyone just wants to. I want to be drunk and sick in my own bed. I want to get up and have the post-diarrhea or the post-puke in my own bathroom.
I can't do it at someone's house.
Although I would never do. I mean, now I can't even remember the last time that happened. But still.
Oh, I can. I'm like, really? You can't remember?
No.
Okay. Lucky you.
It's been a long time. I can't function. If I overserve myself to such a point that I'm throwing up, I can't remember the last time I threw up.
I haven't thrown up, but I've had the diarrhea.
I'm done. I'm out of commission for 2 days now. It's like, it is not a recovery that I look forward to.
Well, now I do
can't
this.
do it.
I self-punish. So if I have done that to myself, I'm like, you are absolutely doing what you're cleaning today. If it's a Sunday or a Saturday.
Okay, mother.
Right? Or if I do it on a Sunday, I'm like, you bitch, you are going to work. Go. Suffer at work because that will teach you a lesson. And while you're sitting at your desk miserable, you'll be like, why did I do this? I'm never doing this again.
And you will remember this time.
And you will remember because you are responsible and you have a job.
That's right.
And you are not allowed to be hungover on Monday and stay home.
How dare you? It's hard,
not happening. Oh, that's my bestie, Veronica. She will forever. She's like, who do you think you are staying home because you're hungover?
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. It is episode 633. October is here.
It is
already.
How strange is that?
We are in the throes of the Fool's Fall.
I am living for the weather we're having in Northern California right now.
And then
it's so rare.
Yes, well, Fool's Fall is here because this is the time when everybody goes, fall is here. I can wear my sweaters. I can wear my flannels. It's my jeans, all the things. And next week it's going to be 95.
Is it really?
Yes.
Is that the prediction?
It is. And then that's the death knell of summer. We get one last scorcher. And then it becomes fall.
It will really become fall.
Okay, for almost a month, my phone was broken.
Yes. And I didn't know this, but until I called you. Who talks on the phone? Never. Nobody. Yeah. I actually called you and I was like, why am I?
The second
Daryl was in the background talking with us.
The instant that my phone no longer, basically the speaker, your ear speaker so you could hear, had broken.
Right. So
I could only talk on speakerphone. And so I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I hate this. And so Daryl's like, well, are you sure? Okay. And you know what? This is his toxic trait.
He was mansplaining.
And he's like, have you cleaned the speaker out? Because that's the number one reason why they stopped working. And I said, I'm going to do it again, but yes, I did. But I did everything. I used a sonic toothbrush on it to make sure I even got the particle of any part. This thing is pristine. And so I cleaned it all out and I said, it's still not working. And he's like, okay, well, and so he's giving me he's like, well, you got to reset. And I said, I've done everything because I'm not a moron. I know how to Google and I know how to use technology to figure out what's wrong with this thing. I know.
Why do they always go back to like the Neanderthal days?
I don't know, but
because Jerry does it to
immediately.
Me too.
And so then I said, what it appears to be is there is a flaw specifically in the iPhone 12 Pro, which is what I have. Yeah. And I said, the thing breaks and it's a warranty issue and it needs to be replaced. The whole front of the thing needs to be replaced and it has to be done in an Apple store, blah, blah, blah. And it started last year. So he ignored it, right? And then I don't know, it was probably another day or two. And when I tell you that every person I know on the planet is calling me
suddenly
instead of texting me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Including me.
Stop fucking calling.
So rude.
Well, I mean, I don't mind, honestly.
No, but
my phone was working.
I feel you. It's very rare that we call anybody.
And so then finally,
there's no need.
I had to, and we'll talk about this next week, I had to schedule a mammogram. Mm-hmm. And there's only one way to do it. You got to fucking call.
You do.
And so finally I completed that.
So archaic.
I completed that task on speakerphone with this poor woman. And finally I'm up here in my office and Daryl and I chat on WhatsApp. It's just faster.
Yeah.
And he's always on the phone. So I'm typing madly away and I go, my phone is still broken. And I don't know why I have to be the one to continue to suffer with a piece of shit phone when anybody else, including you, goes, oh, this phone's out of date. It doesn't work. I'm going to get a new one. I go, and yet here I am with this jalopy of a phone doing serious business on speakerphone. This is ridiculous.
Plus, what am I doing? What is happening here?
I go, why am I the one?
And you know what is so funny about this?
I should be the first one. I should have the 15 in my paw right now.
Thank you.
Like, this is ridiculous.
Jerry speaks on his phone a lot because he's ancient. And two, he always does it on speakerphone. It is the most annoying thing.
He's like the old people.
Seriously. So that's why when and you know what's worse is that when he does it, he's one of those people. And because I've come from a customer service background and I was on the phone 24/7 at my job, people like this, I wanted to crucify.
Right.
Has the TV on like 16.
Oh.
On speaker on his phone. So he's talking to a human being that's doing business with him while Barrett Jackson auction is playing as loud as it fucking can be.
God.
He has no consideration for that poor human being who's trying to like, get the fuck off my phone.
So I'm typing madly away. And he finally, he responds and he goes, please stop mad typing. I can hear you from downstairs. Because I'm like, like going 1,000, because I can type almost 100 words a minute.
Right.
So I'm going, and he's just like, please stop mad typing. I can hear it. I know you're frustrated. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't know it enough because I still have a broken phone.
And then what does that Folio do? He sends me the link that I sent him a week before about how it's a warranty issue. And I go, I want to throw.
Now he's paying attention.
I'm out of my mind. So he goes, but I've made an appointment. I'm getting it diagnosed today. And I said, fine. So he goes to Best Buy and they go, oh yeah, they did a diagnosis on it. He goes, yeah, this is the warranty work. Unfortunately, we can't do it. You got to go to an Apple store. We're like, all right, fine.
Thank you, Apple.
So we make an appointment. There's only one Apple store in the Galleria in Roseville, which is already, I hate it.
I hate it too.
So we go, there's a line to get into the freaking store. And I'm like, what is happening?
Is it a security thing now?
No. So we found out what it was. So we walk up and they're like, you have to check in. They have their little iPads. They're like, hi, why are you here? I'm like, well, we have an appointment to fix my phone. They're like, okay. And so they go through, they're like, scan, everything is so high techy. They're like, scan this on your phone and it will begin diagnosis for you. Oh. So I literally, I do a QR code and it immediately goes, deet, deet, deet. And they're like, oh, okay, I can see that your speaker's not working.
I love that.
Wasn't that amazing?
That's so amazing.
And the line was to buy the 15.
Oh.
So I got to go right in.
All these idiots are buying it in the store?
Apparently.
They just walk in with $1,100 and buy the goddamn phone?
Well, here's the problem. They're like, we don't know why they're here because we told them we've been sold out for a week. And yet they still think that...
I thought everybody got it through their provider.
Or they'll prepay. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
That's so weird to me.
It's so strange. So anyway, I got to go...
They probably know something I don't.
Maybe. So I got to walk right in, take a seat. Awesome. They're like, just wait. Manuel comes over and he's like, hi, I'm Manuel. I'm like, hello, Manuel. He goes, what's going on? I told him. He goes, okay. He goes, yeah, that's probably warranty work. He goes, so they put it on this little thing and it starts doing a diagnostic of the entire thing. Again, he goes, yep, it's definitely that. It's covered. You have to go through the whole thing. They're all back up your phone.
When can I have my phone back?
Yeah. They're like, your phone needs to be backed up. You haven't backed it up. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do it. He goes, well, it's a lot. And he goes, and it can take up to 7 hours to back up. I'm like, I don't want to do all of that. I don't care. There's nothing on my phone that I care about so much that I can't just lose.
I would have to do it.
No. So I bought the backup cloud thing. I backed up some important things. And then I said, all right, here we go. And I said, so you can come back. As soon as this is done tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, but if I just do it today, when will I get it back? He goes, in like an hour. And I said, take it. Please take my phone. I don't want to make this a long process. I've been suffering for a month. I don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. So he takes the phone. We go get lunch. I come back. My whole point in all of this is this. The people, Daryl noticed this. He goes, have you noticed the people in this Apple store?
What?
And I look around, I go, what? He goes, they're all over the age of 60.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Because they think they have to come in to do everything.
And there was a woman who was there going, how do I get on the internet? How do I, access my phone numbers?
What? I lie because it's not just my husband. This happens at work as well.
And I'm like, you're allowed to go into an Apple store and ask for a tutorial?
Fuck yes.
They
will literally do anything for you.
So
it's the best customer service ever.
So these people are there. And so everybody's waiting at a table. And I'm at the Genius Bar now, which is at the very end because I'm just waiting for my phone to come out. Right. So we're just chilling, waiting for our orders. And everybody else is at a table waiting for assistance. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking around. There's a security guard there and he's just standing there. His job is to scan and make sure nobody tries to steal anything. Because right now that's a big issue.
It's huge, which is why I thought there was a line at the door. Because maybe they had like a limit of how many people could come in.
No, it's not that at all. They were waiting to purchase something that doesn't exist. And so he's back and forth. And he's like, his head is on a swivel. And all of a sudden, this woman walks up to him with her dog in a store at the mall. listen, I can't with that.
It's the world we live in now.
So she walks up. She's
because we let everybody do any fucking thing they want to do.
So she walks up to him and he's like, can I help you? And she's like, boy, this must be a really tough job you have. And I'm like,
shut the fuck up. What do you want?
I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, do you struggle? And I'm like, and I turn to Daryl and I go, I just want you to know that if this ever happens to me, you must take me by the short hair and pull me out of this place.
Put me out of my misery.
Please don't do this.
Bury me in the backyard.
Just say, you know what? Your time is done.
You know what's funny though?
And he was like so tolerant. He's just like, yeah, he's just entertaining her. He's done her. And she goes, well, anyway. And she wanders off. And I'm like,
so she had no business there?
No,
she wasn't like coming into the Apple store?
No, she was waiting her turn. But she just decided to get up and introduce herself to the poor security guard. And so I'm like, the vibe is ER. Hardcore.
Yeah.
It is such a vibe. I walk in, I go, I feel like I'm waiting at the emergency room, waiting for it to be triaged.
You're like, can I please?
So once I'm triaged and they're like, you can come back in, I'm like, thank God we ran out.
Give me the fuck. Is there bars in this
mall? We ran out.
No, they don't put bars in malls anymore.
We grabbed a bite and we came back and it was equally as busy. And
it's never not like that.
And I was looking around going, they don't pay these people enough to be here. They do not.
I don't know. Do they though?
There's no amount of money to deal with that riffraff ever. And I'm just like, I'm being glommed into all of them because I am also a person here. I just don't have a dog or a cane needing some kind of assistance on how to find Google.
And you're not purchasing a phone that doesn't exist.
Right.
Because you would do it through your provider like a normal person.
It's so strange. And then someone's going to have to inform me why they're waiting in line when they know there's no inventory. I don't get it. Unless they want to make an order.
Maybe.
And
then
I'll
pay for it, I'll order it, and then you send it to me when it's ready.
Right. And if that's what they're doing, I get it. You know, that I understand.
To me, there's just so many ways. The companies like Apple and Android, they don't want you to come into their store.
No.
So they make it so easy to get their products or technology service or whatever you need in every other way possible.
Yes.
Now, they have to have a store for you to come into for situations like yours.
And I will tell you this.
And you probably could have mailed your phone. Or some shit. You know, I mean, there's got to be a way that they would have done it without you having to physically walk into a store. But it would have required you to wait.
Honestly, Stephanie, I don't know because they made me bring in my ID to even get my phone back.
Okay.
Like,
you know what? Yeah,
strict.
maybe you're right. A security thing. I didn't even think about that.
Especially all the stuff that's on your phone, all the data
True.
So anyway, I grabbed it. And
so there are legitimate reasons why you would have to come in.
Yeah, you have to actively come in. But you know what? It was so fast, in and out. And I was like, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. But I was like, I am so... And they're not selling any product. No one's buying anything. They're all there for help.
How do I get on Google?
I saw one person buying earphones that theirs were broken. You know what I mean? It's not, they're not there to sell shit. They're there to help people with their phone. And that alone, it's like one of those things. I told Daryl, I said, I feel like I'm at the ER and I'm here legitimately. And then there are people who are here because they're like, oh, my ankle hurts. I don't know what to do about it
this morning.
So I'm not really sure. Should I do?
My back hurts.
Yeah. And 90% of the time it's a non-issue and they just send you to take some Advil and go home.
Yeah.
Or you're dehydrated. Here's an IV, go home. You know, but me, it's like, no, you have a fracture. You need to
be here. Yeah, I feel you.
That's what it felt like. And I'm like, the people that work here are saints.
I know.
I've never seen more tolerant humans in my life.
Well, I have learned this lesson in patience at my job because when you work for the welfare department, you will deal with every type of human being known to man. Yeah. Very intelligent, articulate, normal people who know how to function in society.
I know.
And then the polar opposite. You get them all in one day.
Oh yeah.
So you can't, as much as you want to, I can't have an ugly reaction that I normally would when I'm not at work.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be professional and I have to deal with it. And it's such a struggle.
Well, especially for personalities like ours.
Jamie, it's a miracle that I have worked for the county for 10 years.
So here's an interesting segue right into what I wanted to talk to you about today. I was remembering a time when you were really serious about the potential of becoming a flight attendant.
I was right before I had my son.
Very seriously.
I could have done it.
And I was like, you would be the perfect flight attendant.
I could.
And
especially in today's environment.
That is exactly why I want to talk about
now
it.
we don't tolerate being abusive to those people.
Wish so badly that you were a flight attendant. Yeah. You would be a hero.
If I didn't, you know what, talking about being progressive and industries coming, you know, moving forward, and flight attendants are now more considered safety. Yeah, they're there for your safety,
and they're also empowered. They were 100%. They used to not be.
Well, I mean, people try. You know, what did they used to call them? Stewardesses, or you know, I mean, there was all kinds of funny misogynistic names. Yeah, men were not. You know, it wasn't a respectable job if you were a man.
Yeah, you're right.
All of those things, and so now it's completely the opposite, and they're not there necessarily just to serve you peanuts and drinks. That is part of safety. That's a minimal thing of right. Everything else is all about safety.
Yes,
keeping order. You know, making sure people aren't being total assholes and acting amok.
I just wish that you were, because I would love for you to go, I had to duct tape an asshole to a chair today. It'd be like, Stephanie.
Yeah, but then I could also have been on the diarrhea flight. Okay.
You would have been immediately to the pilot, be like, Sam, we aren't flying any further. Okay, we're turning around.
But I would have
none of us are touching it,
seeing it, smelling it, dealing with the other passengers who were
mortified. I don't even know how
that would be real. I mean, so yeah. But I don't see how that's any worse than me working at the welfare department, to be honest.
Because you're not cleaning up diarrhea.
No, but now I do because I'm not in the call center anymore and I'm doing face to face on a different level.
True.
And you know the people, the people that I'm serving, and it's not the average
you're right,
person.
Not the average citizen.
It's quite different.
Yes.
And I wouldn't surprise me if I had an encounter that was similar to something like that.
Well, that would be interesting.
It hasn't happened yet, thank God. But I do think it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't know what it was. I must have seen a video or something, and I'm like, you know what? I remember when Stephanie was thinking about doing flight attendant, and you would be such a good flight attendant. Yeah. You would have been so freaking good. Well, because you wouldn't have put up with it, and you have empathy for small children. You have empathy for moms,
old people,
and you have zero tolerance for entitled assholes.
I don't,
and it would have been
perfect,
amazing.
But I can also be respectful to anybody, even if you're being an entitled asshole. I don't know how I do it. It's a skill. It's 100% a skill.
It is a skill.
And it's something you have to practice because it does not come naturally.
I also find with flight attendants specifically is they have a very long tolerance rope.
Seriously.
They have to.
Skill.
They
learn it. Yes. I don't think any person is born to deal with rigmarole.
The ones where it's so bad that they haven't even taken off yet. Like they're still sitting on the tarmac.
I'm sorry, I said rigmarole.
I don't know what that is.
I said it at work the other day.
What is rigmarole? Is that a new word?
It's just like ruckus or chaos.
Did you make that word up?
I think I did.
Oh, okay.
I said it in front of a friend,
rigmarole.
And he was like, he literally immediately stopped and looked at me. He's like, rigmarole? What did you say?
Take it, note it, use it.
Well, we laughed about it.
It's a new word.
A while.
That's hilarious.
It was funny. I don't even know where it came. Anyway, yeah. I mean, my point is that yes.
Yeah,
I think most of us aren't.
Are you thinking of hullabaloo?
I'm not sure.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
It's
not rigor mortis. I know that.
It's an uggism.
It's an uggism. Rigmarole.
The funny thing is when I said it, whoever I was talking to knew what I meant,
and they just accepted it as reality.
Yeah, like okay,
yeah, it's fine. That happens to me all the time. They're like, okay, it makes sense.
Someone said something funny. It was a client. It wasn't somebody that I'm like close to, but they said something, and then we just kept talking because it was completely wrong. Like, but I knew what they meant.
Yes.
And then at the end, they corrected themselves. I'm like, this is what I meant. I'm like, it's all right. We speak the same language.
I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a genetic trait.
It totally is.
Hardcore genetic trait. Speaking of that, what was I going to say? God damn it. It was something funny.
Sorry. I always do that.
No. It's fine. God, I can't remember what it was. It was something about that though.
God, have you ever seen the SNL skit where Christina Aguilera plays Samantha from Sex and the City?
I love it.
Is it not the most hilarious
It's one of the best skits.
I just scrolled through it on TikTok this morning. I'd never seen it before, and I was fucking cracking up laughing.
So
I was like,
funny.
this is so good. So if you've never seen it, Google it. It's funny.
Side note, you remember, I'm sure you saw it because it went a bit viral. Britney Spears was dancing with knives.
Jamie. I want to know when you're going to stop defending her crazy behavior.
First of all, they were prop knives.
So she says.
No, you know how I know? Because I read an article today. Or I read a blurb today.
I heard them going shing, shing.
Yes, but they were prop knives. And the company that she bought the prop knives from was going under. And when she said, "Oh no, these are prop knives. I got them." Blah blah blah. The store is on the up and up. Everybody bought the damn knives.
Okay.
I'm like, she's Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift was Taylor Swift.
Seriously. I mean, okay. I mean, that's great. But Sam Asghari has accused Britney of having an obsession with knives.
Here's the problem.
In the past, long before this video came out.
But here's the problem. Somebody called the police.
That I had an issue with.
And they came to her house. And I'm like, somebody goes, save her dogs.
Shut
and I'm
the
like,
fuck up.
You guys, she is a woman on her way back from an insane, she literally was held prisoner.
I get it, but I'm not going to defend her manic behavior.
I'm not saying that she's
because she is not doing well.
But I saw her promoting her book.
She is promoting her book, and she did sound very lucid.
She's lucid.
But my problem with her is I also read an article this morning, and I didn't get into it too much, but where she's openly acknowledging substance addiction issues.
I've never seen that. I've never heard or
literally
seen it.
came out today.
I believe you. I believe it.
Now, I don't know how good the source was because
Right.
I didn't have time to click on it and read it or whatever, but I know it caught my attention, and I know it wasn't like Radar Online or something. It was something else.
I do think that this is something that something's going to come to a head. Something's going to happen, and they're going to be like, Brittany, it's time to stop doing Instagram videos. It's time to, get off the pot? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, honestly,
like she needs to, this is it has to be temporary. You can't go through your whole life like this. Something's going to break.
I hope so.
Something will break, and she will have to be like, okay, I guess I'm going to get serious. Nobody's going to want to affiliate themselves if she wants to get back in the business.
If she even does, she's got enough money that she doesn't have to. And I think she's personally like exhausted from entertainment and doing all of that. I think she's been doing it so long. I mean, we forget that she was famous when she was like 13.
This book is going to make her so rich.
She's already so rich.
You know what I mean? Richer.
I do.
I'm buying
read it. Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Well, you buy it and I'll read it after
Absolutely.
you're done.
I'll give you the highlights. We'll talk about it. You know we will.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know
Well,
what
I hope
was
it
going
lives
tell
up
you.
to the hype.
Okay, this is such a deep cut. No one listening is going to care, but you and I.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how it happened, but somehow I got on Little House TikTok.
Oh, shit.
There is a new generation of women, specifically they're women. I haven't seen any men. There's a new generation of women who are probably in their 30s who are just discovering Little House on the Prairie.
For God's sakes.
And they're just like,
this show has been in syndication since the 70s.
they're like, what is this show? What is this
For real,
show?
though?
Yes. And they love it.
Well, I mean, I love it.
Love it. And what's interesting,
I have not one bad thing to say about Little House on the Prairie.
Seeing the opinions
L-hop.
with a fresh pair of eyes
I can understand
is
that.
amazing.
I imagine it is.
They have the same complaints that I had when I first watched it when I was a small child. First of all, I think we were watching it in syndication. I think we were too young to watch it fresh. It came out when we were little.
Well, you're right. It was in the
small.
70s, late 70s. So we were really, really young.
I thought it came out in like 75, 76.
I want to say like 78. But even then, we were
young. We were babies.
8, 7, 6, whatever.
You were even younger than that.
Yeah, we were.
So I think we were watching it in syndication.
I think Mom watched it when it was new. I gotta have like a faint memory of new episodes coming out. Mom watching those
Monday night at 8.
Thank you. But I don't know that we were paying attention to what she was watching. It was just something that was on.
Plus, by the time we were probably cognizant of it, it was coming to an end.
For sure.
I think. Because it ended in the 80s, right?
Yeah. And then when it went to syndication is when we were old enough. We started watching.
Anyway, so here's the thing. I read all the books.
Same.
So I read all the Little House on the Prairie, every single one.
I think Mom made us read them.
On the Banks of Plum Creek is my number one favorite Little House book. It's my favorite one.
God, I don't even read. But if you don't read or if you do read, they are so worth the read.
I read them over and over again when I was a kid. I loved them all. Anyway, my point is that Little House, for whatever reason, is becoming this low key, like, what is this? So everybody loves Pa and Ma and all the things. And now they're like looking at it. They're going, Albert's a problem.
I hated it when they brought him on.
Same.
And I don't think he was in any of the books.
He's not.
So he's a made-up character for the show.
Yes. and then they kill him off.
I know. Well, so that's the thing I don't like. And I understand from an entertainment standpoint why Michael Landon had to create these characters.
He needed a son.
And he needed things to continue. The lines were getting, the kids were getting old and they had families. And,
here's the problem. In the books, I mean, it's the Laura Almanzo show.
For sure.
She wasn't writing about her parents anymore.
No.
And it was a very different time. They weren't living on the
Pa,
prairie.
Yeah, there's no way Pa could be Pa if his kids are 30.
Right.
Right?
So anyway.
So in order to be Pa, he had to have a child that he was raising.
What I love about it is that the show is still not problematic. And people love it. And they love that Nellie's terrible. They love that Willie's a brat. They love Mrs. Olsen. And they're like, Mrs. Olsen was low-key racist. And I'm like, she was.
Well,
she was.
She kind of was.
But here's the thing.
Well, she wasn't just racist.
She
hated everybody.
She did, but she was just like, he's a Jew, like hardcore.
Of course, nowadays the show would have been canceled and they would have never worked again.
But here's the thing about Mrs. Olsen is she was the thing that they used her to educate ignorance.
They did.
So like when she had a problem with black people, when she had a problem with Native Americans.
They always made it right at the end.
When she had a problem with women wearing pants or whatever it
all
was.
The things.
And she really got schooled because her daughter fell in love with a man who was Jewish and not Christian. And back in the 1800s, I mean, girl.
Well, and that's the thing that I appreciate about the show is that...
but she always learned a lesson from it.
Because those subjects are so taboo.
Yes.
But they're so real.
They're necessary.
They're accurate. These things happen and happened back then.
Well, and that's what I loved about it. I'm like...
Think about all the when they talked about the indigenous people and the Indians. And that was so taboo to talk about. But that is the way we treated those people.
Yes.
And it's awful and horrible.
It
needs to be talked about.
What I love is that although Mrs. Olsen was cantankerous, they used her character to teach people about ignorance and
how did they make us love her at the same time?
And racism and generalizing a person or a people. Like, it's so good. Like, remember when she'd be like, this book is inappropriate. You shouldn't have this. And Doc is like, well, it's an anatomy book for doctors. I don't know why you're looking at it because there's naked people in it. Yeah. And she goes, well, this shouldn't be out. And he's all, you're being ridiculous. Right. This is educational and it's necessary because she didn't want him to look at Nellie.
Right.
When she found out she was pregnant.
Right. 100%.
And she's like, well, I want to be in there with you. And he's like, I am conducting an exam and you can't be in there. She's like, this is highly inappropriate. He's like, get the hell out of here, lady.
Thank you.
It was so educational.
I already know what's wrong with her. Oh, you do?
It was so educational. And Mrs. Olsen is iconic because of it.
She is.
And
she was brilliant.
I think she was my favorite character, to be fair.
I loved her on so many different levels.
Yeah.
So many episodes. Some of my favorite episodes, and I can name...
The Olsens were underrated.
One of my
I can see it now.
Yes. One of my very favorite episodes that I watch over and over and over again, even though I've watched them all over and over again, is the Camp Out. And now the Camp Out wasn't anything political or it was, but it is one of the funniest episodes to me.
Is that the one where they all have to like travel? And
this is the one where basically Charles is taking his family to go camping and they're going to quote unquote rough it.
Okay.
And Mr. Olsen.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to collect leaves because they're on holiday. It's basically the Thanksgiving break.
Right.
I
remember this
Mrs. Beatles tells all the kids, look, go out and get a leaf collection and whoever has the best leaf collection will win this thing,
whatever.
At school.
Right.
So Nellie's like, it's not fair. Laura's dad is taking them and they're going camping and they're going to get different leaves because they're going to not be in Walnut Creek. And,
right.
And Mrs. Olsen is like, well, isn't it just like an Ingalls child to get entitled, and Nell's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? She's like, I expect you to take your children to exactly the same place so they can get the same leaves. And he's like,
Jesus.
I can't just interrupt their holiday. And she's like, oh, well, I see how you just don't love your children.
I totally remember that.
So they all end up going together, which wasn't the original plan. She comes, she brings a tea set.
I remember.
That she smashes because she falls in the creek. It's literally hilarious.
It's the funniest episode.
Nellie and Laura fall in the river.
Yep.
And almost drowned.
Yes, I remember that. And Nellie's the one that almost drowned them, by the way.
And then she gets out. She's like, Laura tried to drown me. And she's like, Nellie
Yeah, they get theirs. They get their comeuppance, which is nice.
Yes, because Laura and Mary let them catch poison oak.
I remember that. They're like, oh yeah, get all those leaves, girl.
Yes, because Willie picks he's like, no, these are all mine. And Mary's like, that's poison oak. And Laura's like, shut the fuck up. Don't tell him. Let him get it.
It was a good show. Anyway, I'm just loving that it's becoming popular all of a sudden.
Well, I do too. I didn't know that.
And I'm just like, this is so great, looking at it in fresh eyes, the only thing is the same complaints I had back in the day. I hate Albert. I hate that character.
Although one of my other favorite episodes is the one where Albert gets addicted to morphine.
Oh, well, that's when that one's pretty good because it's the first time we get to see him throw up white stuff.
He throws up white stuff.
Yes.
And he runs around.
That was a very big episode.
It was huge, but we were talking about all of the lessons that Little House teaches us.
Because he was in the war and he got an addiction.
No. You're thinking of the soldier.
Oh, my bad.
Different.
Why was he addicted?
Well,
he went to the city.
He had PTSD, but it wasn't Albert in that episode. It was that another famous, because that's the thing about Little House. Is they had a lot of cameos.
Well, how did he get addicted to morphine then?
He got addicted to morphine because he had gone off to the city to go to school, and he was hanging with a rough crowd, and they were all doing morphine.
Oh my!
So then his dad was like, "You're fucking up. I'm bringing you back to what is it called? Walnut Grove.
Yes.
So that you can get." And then he started stealing it from Doc Baker.
Doc Baker.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy times.
Yeah.
Crazy
so that was a good
times.
episode too.
That was. Anyway, so I thought that you would appreciate the fact that now I'm getting Little House talk, and I'm getting all these little scenes, and I got to watch the scene where Albert climbs up the mountain when he's dying of leukemia.
Oh God, yes.
And they all hold hands in victory, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and there was that other episode where there was another, and it was a character that was only in one show, and then you never saw him again.
Yeah.
But where he wanted to see the ocean, and
Oh
Laura
my God,
and Albert
Stephanie?
ran away.
I wept.
We all wept.
I cried so hard.
And they went to San Francisco of all places.
And they take him and he gets to see the ocean.
And that was the final scene, and we bawled our eyes out because this dying boy got to see the ocean in real life.
I did. Why? I did cry.
And honestly, that was for me, that episode, sometimes those episodes put in perspective, because if you put yourself back in the late 1800s,
yes.
What are the chances that if you live in, Minnesota,
you're never going to see the
that
ocean.
you're ever going to see the ocean in your lifetime, because you have to take a fucking wagon.
How did you even know that it existed?
1,000 miles. Well, they knew because we had, it was the late
books.
1800s.
Yeah, there's books.
But
they
getting
had the
there
train.
was damn near impossible. Yes. I mean,
yes, but you're right. Speaking of, I was going to ask you this because I was trying to think about it. Do you remember the first movie that made you ugly cry as an adult?
As an adult?
As an adult.
One of the movies that made me
bawl
my eyes out
vividly the first
terms
time.
of endearment.
That was when you were an adult?
I was a young adult.
The first movie that made me weep like I've never wept in my life is The Color Purple.
That too.
At the end.
You're right.
I had read the book. I read the book in high school.
I did too.
And then the movie came out with Whoopi Goldberg.
It was one of those movies that Mom let us watch because she shielded us from so many things that she thought were inappropriate.
Right.
But she let us watch that movie.
I watched the end, and when the sisters see each other again after
Jamie.
almost a lifetime, Stephanie, I've never cried so hard in my life.
I still cry in that movie. I cannot.
I was inconsolable.
Yeah.
Inconsolable.
If you have a sister... and you're close to your sister, it's one of those movies that you just know, you relate, even though we weren't poor and black and all of those things.
It's just that it's that relationship, and those two had been, and they were
the trauma.
Not only that, but they were so close. They had all they had was each other,
honestly.
And then when those horrible people split them apart,
yes,
I just was like, I was so gutted. And then when they see each other again, and those beautiful African,
oh my God! So now I have to watch that movie.
Oh my God! And I was just like that. I mean, yes, Terms of Endearment and Steel Magnolias, all those movies did make me cry, but I've never cried so hard than the
that
first
was a different one. You're right.
I saw The Color Purple.
Terms of Endearment, I don't know what it was about that. I think it was the bond between the mom and daughter that I never had.
Yes.
And so
it was so tumultuous.
It was.
Yes.
But they just, I don't know, whoever directed that film was fucking brilliant. Genius.
I think it's someone famous. We know the name, but I can't think of it.
But they did a really good job.
You know what's funny? I've seen that movie many times now, and it's weird how as you get older and you experience different things, how different things make you cry. That the scene when she's like, I can't believe this is happening, there's nothing harder, blah, blah, blah. That still makes me cry pretty hard.
Yeah.
But Steel Magnolias actually makes me cry harder. It used to be the funeral scene when she was crying.
Makes us all cry.
It does, but now it's when she goes to get her grandson.
Jamie?
I can't.
I can't with that.
I can't.
And I think, like you said, I think
is so hard.
It's a journey in life that where, depending on where you
Yes.
are, that
Yes.
right, different things that like hit you.
It's just, this is all she has left of her daughter. And it's
Honest
like,
to
I
God.
can't.
Well, you know what? The scene where she, in terms of endearment, where she dies, I think that scene, if you haven't experienced death that close to you,
Right.
then it doesn't quite hit you as hard. But now that I'm older, and I've not, thank the Lord,
We have not experienced that.
and I know I will probably in my life, but
Sure.
But I think for people who have been through that, you think that, when you've not done it yourself, you think that, well, you knew they were sick, you knew they were terminal, you knew they were going to die. Like, the outcome is going to be that.
Right.
But I've heard people say that, like, I knew that, yes. But when it happens,
You're like, wait.
it's just not.
It's not ready.
It never feels like you're
Right.
ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so crazy. It's like, wait, I thought I was.
Like, I should have known this was I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Why am I still so broken
weird.
over it? Yeah.
It was funny because this is kind of a change of subject, but I do think a lot about death a lot. And I know it's my PTSD. I know it's my anxiety, etc. But I also think a lot about what if I was homeless? And we were on our way to Costco yesterday.
I do this too. Jerry can't with me with that.
We were on our
He's
way
like, we're never going to be homeless, all right? I'm like, you just don't know. He's like, I know. We're not going to be homeless. It's never happening.
So I was
He's so resolute about it. And I'm just like, it could happen.
We were on our way to Costco and I saw a couple of people setting up some kind of little camp in this state park area that we drive by. And they were so close to the road. I'm like, God, if you were living in the park area, why would you be so close to the road? Like,
Safety.
go deep. Go deeper, just a little deeper,
Yeah.
I can see everything. Just push it back.
It's a safety thing, I'm telling you.
I understand. Anyway.
No, I really don't, but I've learned to understand.
So I agree.
Being homeless is so dangerous.
Exactly. So anyway, so I see that and I'm like, God, I don't understand. Cause it was like 3 men chilling, And so we're on our way to Costco and I'm really quiet and we're on our way home now. And he's like, why are you so quiet? And I'm like, I'm just thinking about if I was homeless, what I would do. And he goes, again? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't understand. And I said, well, I just think that being outside in the elements is not wise. Unless you're in an area where there's no people and you can build your own home or something, like a little shack or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the people on Alone. If you can do something like that.
Oh, they can't.
Whatever. No,
They
I know.
have less than nothing.
No, I understand.
But I hear what you're saying.
But I'm like,
hypothetically.
however, I go, because I'm thinking I would just play Little House on the Prairie. I would just find a prairie and I would build a thing. And my biggest problem would be food and water. Those would be my number one things all the time. But if I could find an area that I had access, I think I could probably do it. I mean, I don't want to eat squirrel, but I will do it.
If I had to.
I just didn't know how to build a fire. And he's just sitting there quietly like, mm-hmm. And I said, but we don't live in the prairie. Right. So I would have to be a little more, suburban.
Yes. And they have laws and stuff they have to abide by. You know what I mean? You can't just go and...
But I care not of all the reality of homelessness. Right? I'm just telling you in my brain. And so I'm like...
feasible.
The number one thing I would do, first of all, I don't know why, but I'm always alone. There's nobody else. I have no family, no husband. It's just me. Right. I'm just homeless. And so I'm like, well, I realize that I won't have much, but I do know this. The amount of vacant commercial buildings in the city is abundant currently, especially. Nobody ever turns off the electricity or plumbing in those places. So I would definitely be breaking into one.
Well, they do.
And I know. And I would be, that would
loitering
be
and
that fine.
Well, you go to jail for it, but okay.
Okay. At least I'm not being raped in the street.
Hey, a lot of them are actually, because we were talking about my job earlier, but a lot of them end up in jail doing things for survival. And it's like they have absolutely nothing to lose because going to jail, while for you and I sounds terrible, it's not the worst thing for them.
They are safe and they're in the system now. But the thing is that
they get fed every day. They're sheltered. They can shower.
We're removing all reality.
Yes.
Okay, this is just me as if it's the apocalypse and I'm alone.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, Brigham. He goes, you really need to stop thinking about the fact that you could be homeless. And I said, I know.
The man has been with you for 26 years and you will always have these thoughts.
I used to play homeless when I was a child. Well, do you know that?
Lots of things.
I used to play homeless as a child.
We played lots of things.
I used to create.
Other children do not play. We were disabled in a variety of ways.
I know.
We've talked about that before on the show. Yeah. I don't think that's normal.
I don't know.
When I say normal, quote unquote normal, I don't mean like stigmatism normal. I mean, I don't think a lot of children pretend they're blind or deaf or they don't have a leg or, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
I just don't.
I think you're correct.
Tell me if you have people, because I'd like to know if I'm thinking we're like weird and we're not.
I think we're weird.
Well, what gets me is like what motivates us to play like we're homeless.
Do you remember the time
and I can't imagine you played You Were Homeless by yourself. Or did you?
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, you were okay.
I created a knapsack and I put peanut butter crackers and playthings in there. And we used to have
necessities.
Remember we used to have the horse on the spring, the old school.
Yes. I would pinch the shit out of you if you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I would never give that to a child now.
I would. Okay. This is such a deep cut. Oh my God. Okay. So Linda Blair was in a movie. She was on a horse and she was going across somewhere. I don't remember the movie, but there was a song. I remember the song, Stephanie. And I used to pretend that was me and that I would.
On the horse?
Yeah. And that I was by myself and I had like a knapsack and that's all I had.
And you were like springing and running and.
I know I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it.
Well, what happened to her? Was she running away?
The road is long, but
is that even a real song?
I must go on. Anyway, yes, it's a real song. Yes, it's a real song. You know what? I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna tell you.
She probably sang it.
She did.
Oh, she did.
This was after The Exorcist.
See, because I didn't know that for the longest time when I was younger that Patrick Swayze sang "She's Like the Wind."
What?
When the movie first came out.
I had no idea you didn't know that.
When the movie first came out, I did not know he sang that song. I learned it later as a teenager, and because remember that movie came out and we were children. We were very young, and Mom wouldn't let us watch it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So it was later when I was old enough and I had seen the movie that I was like, oh my God, he sang that song? Because the song was actually on the radio. So I didn't put two and two together at the time.
I'm going to find it and then I will show it to you. God, she was in a lot of really bad movies. Wow.
Next to me.
Oh, wait. Wild Horse Hank? Is this it?
God.
In 1979.
Sounds about right.
A rancher's daughter saves horses from industrial slaughter by herding them 150 miles to federal land. This is the movie. Okay.
Well, hey, that sounds pretty good. I'd watch it. Totally.
5.2 out of 10.
I mean, I was crying on the Bradshaw Shelter website this morning because there was a pit bull who had been in the shelter since July.
She got adopted.
Immediately.
Oh, Wild Horse Hank. That was her. I want to find the song. I'm telling you, that was the song. I played that by myself. Going 150 miles apparently to federal land to save horses.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I played alone.
Do you remember we had at the house that our parents were married at in Sacramento when we first moved here, our parents built a house and we had a den. Well, we called it a den.
Yeah.
It was basically an office. It was upstairs at the top of the stairs. And we played in that room.
We did.
Not often, but we did.
Yes.
And I remember listening to Leif Garrett and, like really sad songs.
Making you cry.
Yes. I don't know why we found that enjoyable, but yes.
And they called it puppy love.
And then we just bawl.
You know what? We were emotionally cutting at such a young age.
Seriously, I was like 6 or 7.
What were we doing?
That. I don't know. But I also remember listening to that other song. I have no idea why. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
That was the Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid soundtrack.
But I don't know that we listened to it for... We didn't know it was from that movie.
No, we didn't know that. We had records.
It was just a record we had.
Oh my God.
But that wasn't a sad one necessarily.
No, we like that song.
Yeah. I just find that funny that looking back.
And you know what? There was a skip in it. Me. Over and over. Remember? You do remember.
I didn't until you said it.
You're like, God.
See, Jamie is a phenomena. I'm telling you, she remembers.
God, I can't believe I remembered.
Why do I
remember this Linda Blair song? What?
I don't know.
I'm gonna find it for you.
Well, we all have a special song that like only we know.
I'm gonna send you. I'm sure there's a YouTube of it somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm gonna send you. You'll be like, oh my fucking God, she did know the words.
Oh, I know you know the word. I have no doubt in my mind. What the hell? I was having flashbacks because I think we talked about this on the last show about how we would hold our pee and poo when we were outside playing. Either one, because we were locked out of the house, or two, we didn't want to come in.
Yes.
And I was like, I remember so vividly sticking the heel of my foot up my ass as hard as I could.
So that you didn't have to go to the bathroom?
And closing my eyes because the sensation was so strong that I had to go to the bathroom. But I would not do it.
Just breathe.
And then we would give each other the same advice. We're like, just stick your foot up your butt.
Why did we do
I
that?
don't know.
You know what? I'll tell you why. Because we had no control over our lives, and we could control that.
You might be right.
I think that was a control thing. Just insanity. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it. Yeah. I have nothing more.
That was long enough.
That was quite enough.
I think everybody stopped listening like 15 minutes
They're
ago.
just like, okay.
God, they're just going on and on and on about their terrible childhood.
And Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
It's like, yes,
Who's Linda Blair? Who the fuck is that?
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. But you know what? Actually,
Who's Leif Garrett?
Linda Blair is actually a good throwback.
She is.
Because there's a new Exorcist movie coming up for Halloween.
Jamie,
So
I
I'm not
can't.
watching it. Oh God, no.
They make it so scary now with all
so
the
scary.
CGI and everything.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I literally can't even watch the
I'm
trailer.
like, 2 little girls are possessed by
When
the
the
devil?
trailer comes on, I am like, I close my eyes and I change it.
I legit, okay, and they, because it's a horror movie, they air the promos at night.
Yes.
Because it's scarier,
and I'm
right?
laying in my bed with the lights off.
I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I hear the nee.
cannot.
I'm like, and I'm like,
There's only a few movies that really scare the shit out of me because I'm such a realist, and so are you.
Yes.
That even when I see things, I'm like, that's dumb. It's not real. But those movies, I don't know what it is.
So they want the last
It scared
movie,
the
and
fuck out of me.
and my son told me, he's like, if you want to be really scared, he goes, you have to see Hereditary.
I've heard.
Stephanie, I watched Hereditary, and it is so scary.
Is it monster or is it?
Well, here's what's
supernatural?
Weird. Well, here's what's weird about the movie and why it's so brilliant. First of all, the acting is next level. Okay, just in general, the acting is next level.
Okay,
but it's
which is rare in horror movie.
It's a twofold movie, which is why it's so scary. Yes, there's some terrifying scenes. The problem is that you can't. I mean, you're seeing it and it's scary, and the grandmother is a witch. A real witch, and this is a long genetic thing, except that it is symbolic of generational trauma.
Oh God.
And the and mental illness and grief and all of these things. So although you are seeing these horrifically scary scenes that are very scary, it is
wrapped into relatable things.
It is a symbol of the terror and torture of mental illness.
Oh, fantastic.
And so it's even more scary because you're like, oh, this is what people who are very ill maybe
think about.
Experience.
Oh God.
So you don't know, is it real or is it
a figment of somebody's illness?
Is it a coven from 200 years ago, or is it someone experiencing schizophrenia?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right.
And so because of
they
all of
blur
that,
those lines for you.
You can take it any way you want. You can take it as just a supernatural, scary witch movie, or you can look at it and going, this is the torture of mental illness. Ugh. Both terrifying. And Tyler, my son, was correct. It is the movie that has stayed with me the most in most recent times.
See, so that's why I don't know if I could watch
the slasher movies I laugh at. I love them. But this is a psychological, horrifying, well done movie.
See, I don't know if I want to subject myself to that because I have so many of those already.
I think that knowing you, it would be too much for you.
Yeah, I just don't need to.
You wouldn't enjoy it.
I don't need to add to the list.
You would not enjoy it in that aspect. You would be thinking about it in the middle of the night, going, "Is someone going to be floating and looking at me?"
I don't believe in supernatural shit.
No, I know, but
so if that is the whole thing, then
it's not the whole thing. But
if there's any element of reality,
yes,
like somebody could break into my house and be standing over my bed.
Well,
that shit is what scares me.
The reality is, and this movie's been out for far too long for spoilers, whatever. Is the two kids?
We don't not do spoilers.
The two kids are driving, and his little sister sticks her head out and
gets decapitated.
Yes,
we've all heard that story.
And the mother never gets over it.
Yeah,
and the crying and the weeping it will make you weep. She's so good at this movie.
Yeah.
Toni Collette, it plays the mother.
Okay.
And the woman is, a lot of people thought she should have been nominated for an Oscar for this movie because it was so well done.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But I mean, same with comedies, unfortunately.
Well, maybe she'll get a chance in something else. I
think she's been nominated many times. She's very good. Anyway, all right. That's
Well,
it.
it's almost Halloween, so it's appropriate to be talking
Yeah,
about
so
this.
I mean, Exorcist, if you want to see it, let us know about it. I want to
Please do,
hear.
because I will not watch it.
I probably won't go see it. If it
Negative.
comes on in a year from now, I'll probably scan through it. But I'm not a big fan of The Exorcist myself.
Well, that's funny because my husband, who generally does not like horror movies at all, that's one of the movies that's like a childhood trauma for him.
Oh, interesting.
Because that movie came out when he was young,
You know who-
teenager.
Daryl's childhood trauma, his aunt took him to see Amityville Horror at the movies.
That's the other one.
When he was 9.
Oh God, what?
Now,
God.
so now he won't watch any scary movies.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, really? Because I
Jerry's
love
not a
scary
fan.
movies.
I do too.
Yeah.
So I have to watch them alone, which sucks.
Which is even worse. But like, I like monster movies and I like slasher movies.
I do too. Like
So-
like for the fact that it's almost Halloween right
Yes.
now.
Oh, they're all coming
I
out.
can't wait for all the Jason movies to start playing
good.
and the Freddy movies.
Yes.
I love watching them.
God, Freddy, 1, 2.
I can't.
Scary. Okay.
Tina.
You just made my
Right? I even gave myself chills.
stop it.
See, now if we're allowed to play music on the show, that as long as it's 20 seconds or less, I always thought it would be fun if Daryl would like do an exit with like, you know, a small excerpt of wherever we were talking
Oh
about.
my God, that.
Yeah, so that would be the end of the show.
Oh, my heart rate. But I love those movies. Oh my God, it's so scary.
You know, as
Oh my
he's dragging
God.
his nails down the hallway.
That's one of the scariest scenes
when
ever.
when his arms are like 10 times longer.
That is a scary
Jamie,
scene.
whoever thought of that movie?
Nightmares. Legit nightmare. The
Brilliant.
scariest scene, the first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, which is the best one, is when Tina's in the body bag and her legs lift and she just gets pulled invisibly.
Oh my God.
So scary.
You know what's funny? And this, I know we're ending the show, but
I know. Yeah, we have to end it.
Dad was always the one who did anything edgy. Like,
Yes,
like
it's
we
true.
would never expect our parents to they literally let us have no fun in our lives. None as children. So
It's true. Maybe that's why we're so warped. Because we made
Probably.
our own fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if someone was going to allow us to do something fun or
Yeah.
something kind of off color, it was going to be Dad, not
True.
Mom.
Accurate.
So we were never allowed to watch scary movies ever.
Right.
But Dad would let you do some weird shit that I was like, what the fuck, you know? So you had a friend, I don't know if it was friend or friends, but he let you watch Freddy. When it
Yes.
came out. It was
Yes.
new. I remember.
Yes.
You were having a sleepover. Mm-hmm. I think I was 12 or 13 at the time.
Right.
And it was the first time that he let me stay up and watch the movie with you.
Yes.
And so it was literally the first scary movie I'd ever seen in my life.
It's a good one.
And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, fuck's sakes. I mean, talk about hitting the ground running. It was absolutely terrifying.
And you know what was great about Nightmare on Elm Street is there had never been one like it.
Right? Well, it was Jason before that.
Yeah, but that was just a slasher
Friday the
film.
13th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Freddy goes into your dreams and you
Jamie.
can't escape it
Yeah.
unless you wake up.
It was so scary.
Oh my God, that's such a good movie.
Never
I'm
been
gonna, you know
scared
what?
in my life.
I'm gonna watch that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
me
watch
too.
the OG. That's a good one. All right, everybody.
Johnny Depp's in it, so hey.
Oh, that's right. He's so cute. All right.
Children of Our Dead.
Until next week. Bye.